Hi guys, happy Tuesday. I have a very special guest this Tuesday. His name is Dr. Ehsan Sadri and he happens to be my husband, my one and only husband.
That we know of.
That we know of. And I convinced him, I bribed him to sit with me so I can ask him some questions that a lot of you guys have asked me, and I think is a perfect person to answer them. This is more for all of you immigrants out there that are new to this country and you're doing your very best to go after that American dream, but you're having a hard time and at times you are not getting the answers that you want right away. So you're questioning things, you're questioning your journey. Maybe you're even questioning your family's move to the United States. Or it could be a different country that you've recently moved to. But regardless, that whole immigrant hustle that all of us have been through, and someone that has really hustled through it is my husband. I've heard stories about you having a paper route when you were 8 years old. So he's held his own job since he was 8 years old, and he has really worked hard every step of the way. He still does. So I thought he's the perfect person to ask some questions. So welcome to my Therapy Tuesday.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you.
So my first question for you is, how old were you when you came here? What was your experience like when you first stepped foot in the United States? Did you speak English? And what were those early years like for you?
Well, first of all, it's an honor being here with you. It's kind of different, which is kind of nice.
Guys, I made sure he's very casual and cool looking too.
She dressed me.
Took away the suit and the formal Ehsan to give you guys more of a Tina vibe.
Yeah, do you like? Yeah, this is. I feel like I'm going to do yoga.
Hopefully you
right
guys appreciate it.
But no, it's honestly a pleasure being here. So. We moved to the United States when I was 8 years old from Iran, and that was October 1982.
Okay.
No English, zero. Well, I mean, I knew
Words like book, water.
Book or hamburger, and with a thick Persian accent.
Can't imagine that.
Yeah, and it was very frustrating, very, very lonely because you come to a new country. We just had my grandfather who worked full time. My mother worked 3 jobs. I was old enough to remember the before revolution. So we went from that lifestyle to having nothing, which was very dramatically frustrating for my parents, probably in some extent. For me as a kid, it was challenging. It was tough. It was not easy.
So your mom worked, you didn't know English before you moved here. And what do you think at that time was keeping you going when things were hard and you didn't speak the language and all of that? What was that mentality you had to keep pushing through?
Well, I mean, you're not the only one. Any immigrant mindset, you do the same thing. It's like, you don't have any options. Your mom's working, so nobody's at home. This is an era where there's no Netflix, there's no cable, so there's like random TV shows. And it's boring, no video games, just starting. No cell phones. God, that was ancient. I feel like there was electricity.
He is a little bit older than you.
I am older, yeah. So mom's gone, dad's gone, and we were at school, right? Come home, and we just had to fend for ourselves. And early on, for me, at least personally, I can speak, is I had to make a decision. It was either going to be...
Do you get chewed out or...
Get chewed out? No. My parents were actually, it was really interesting. I never got chewed out on grades, ever. It was the weirdest thing. Sometimes it would be like, how come you guys don't care about my grades?
Oh, okay.
They never check our grades. It was the weirdest thing. Maybe they were immigrants. They didn't really know they should be checking. You know how you were telling me, like back home?
Yeah, my parents were very strict.
Yeah, they were strict. And I think in Iran, they were more strict. And I think when they came here, they were so busy, they never checked. So we were given a long leash. And that leash, either subconsciously or consciously, decided, I'm going to take advantage of this. I really wanted to work hard. I really wanted to make sure that I didn't squander it.
Was it partly due to that feeling of guilt that I personally experienced towards my parents, because I thought they brought me here, they left their entire life and everything they had, and I had one shot. And I felt so responsible for it.
Yep.
Did you also feel that same way?
100%.
Did you channel it?
100%, 110%. So I think this is not unique to being Iranian.
This goes for anybody.
Any immigrant, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So you either decide to squander it, which is a decision, or you decide to say, you know what? No, my mom and dad, to your point, are working 3 jobs. She's exhausted. She's coming home. I feel guilty. I feel like I got to do something with all this. So that really pushed me. For sure.
Agree.
And we had a cousin, God rest his soul, my Pesar Khala, who was my huge mentor. First cousin, when we first moved to the United States, he actually literally sat me down. And he was like a straight A dental student, and he was incredibly motivating and also just influential at that age. So I was 8, 9 years old, and then I just went to work. I had paper route. I spoke no English, but I was throwing papers, and The neighbors were upset all the time. I was an entrepreneur from the very beginning. There's no question about that. I just loved business. I love being around people, working hard. So yeah,
So you had a role model.
yes.
So I think it's really important as a therapist.
Yeah.
I always ask my clients, every time one has a goal, I always say, pick someone who's been through similar experiences as you and has come out strong and has crushed it. And what do they look like? What has their life look like? What have they done throughout this journey that has allowed them to be successful? So
Modeling.
So modeling
Yeah.
their behavior, and it sounds like you had that through your
Yeah,
cousin.
and
So
and you're spot on. If you don't know it, there's someone who's already done it. So
true that.
you want to be a therapist, you had a mentor. I want to be an eye doctor. I had mentors, I should say.
By the way, and that's not to say that it needs to be a cousin or it needs to be a relative or it even needs to be someone that you know. I mean, it's better because you get to keep them really close and really learn through experience with them, but it does not have to be a relative in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so what were the years after that like? When you had settled down a little bit in America and you had kind of adjusted, and now was the time to figure out what you want to do with your life. How did you choose to be a physician and go into ophthalmology and all of that? The second part of your...
Second part, yeah. I mean, after we got over the whole food thing and all that.
Oh my God. Do you want to share?
No. No, I can share. When you first move to a country, there's this phase where you're like worried about basics, right?
Yeah.
You're worried about where you're going to live, how much food there is. This is a funny story. I remember the first time we went to a grocery store in America, and I was like, oh my God, look
So
how much
odd.
food there is. Like,
How
I
vast.
couldn't believe, right? Do you remember?
It's crazy.
You walk in, there's milk everywhere. I remember
It's crazy.
in Iran, it was during Iran-Iraq war.
Yeah.
And they were literally dropping bombs. And we had to wait outside about 2-hour line, I'm not kidding you, for frozen chicken. One chicken.
No,
And they used to
I
give these
remember.
little coupons. So you couldn't just get however many you needed. You just got one. And you were for 2 hours. So imagine I went to this place called Lucky's, which is gone now. It's part
Oh
of
my God, Albertsons, the old
yeah.
Albertsons.
And I walked in, there was rows and rows of food everywhere. That was shocking, right? In a good way. And I just enjoyed America. I loved America. I was like, this is the land of the free and abundance. And I was just like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
to this day, I feel blessed to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you?
Yeah, grocery
Yeah.
shopping in Iran was definitely
Yeah,
different.
grocery shopping was your own,
So going back to your second part of life in America.
Going back to your question, sorry. So I got carried away about food.
He still does, by the way. Food is a theme in our life.
Food is I think it was Italian in my life. No, but going back, when we got settled in, call it high school years, I was pre-law. I was going to go become a lawyer.
Wow, okay.
So I was
I could see that.
I was captain of my debate team. I did all the,
No wonder you win all our arguments.
Okay.
Who's going to be a lawyer?
Whoever says actually wins them. But so I went to high school and college thinking I was going to be a lawyer. To answer your question, it was a freshman year in college where I took a biology class. It was like required. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. The professor, who was like this incredible guy, he actually ended up doing research for his lab. He was a great person. He was a great mentor. The subject matter was interesting. I thought it was really intriguing. It was very concrete. Whereas law...
It's more subjective.
It's very subjective. And you're very idealistic at 18, 19, right? You have this whole idea about utopian society and everyone's equal and all this stuff, right? That was really a big theme. And I realized, no offense to all my friends that are lawyers, are incredible. Some of them are the most gifted and they're very necessary. But for me personally, it wasn't concrete enough. It was like you could take an argument and you could twist it and still make a living out of it, even though you knew in your heart that wasn't necessarily the truth, right? So when you're 18, 19, I realized I'm not arguing the truth. It's just based on my skill sets to be able to, right? So I left it and I pursued medicine.
Very nice. And my last question for you is, how did you push through those really, really tough years of being alone in a city that you didn't have family in? And he's shared with me many times that he felt very lonely and missed his family, missed his Persian food.
Yeah. So, it's a really good question about what do you do when you're alone, when you're scared, when it's challenging. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, right? So like now I look back and I actually enjoyed looking at those years because it gives you confidence, fulfillment, that you push through. But when you're in it, it's almost like that last 5 miles in the marathon. It's like you have
So tough.
delusional thoughts, especially the time where we were training for medicine.
Yeah.
They took away sleep. So you worked 80, 100 hours. There was no sleep. So it wasn't like you could just kind of say, oh, yeah, you can go home now. It was like you just stayed on. But I will say conversely, that allowed me to have that grit. So it allowed me to I've been through worse. Right? I think that has helped me personally.
Wow. So past experiences that got you through were your motivation in your new experiences.
100%.
I
So,
love that so much.
yeah, if you're going through rough times, you've always gone through worse rough times. Yeah, I guarantee. You might not know it consciously. That's one thing I do. I literally bring past. I'm like, this too shall pass. I always tell that myself.
Love that.
And number two, I say, this is not as bad as that was. Right?
I love that.
And that kind of creates a little bit of an ability to go. And it's going to come up. I mean, it is what it is. It's just life. If you're going to do something new, you got to do something new. So if you have a new goal, right, you want to lose weight, or if you want to do something financial, if you want to do something with your career, you're going to have to go through stuff that is challenging.
Yeah, I love this saying that things are hard until they get easy. So if I was to wrap up and give some quick tips to summarize this, because I know we all like instant gratification on Instagram and we want things like that. So I know a lot of you are going to fast forward to this part, so let me just give it to you. I think the first thing would be to really find a mentor that you can follow and you can learn from. And this mentor can be anyone from close cousin like my husband's experience, or it could be someone on TV that you watch and you learn stuff from. It could be anybody. So having a mentor, using past experiences that you've already gone through into motivating you for your future experiences. And what we mean by that is maybe journaling, writing down things that you've been through and what allowed you to get through and what did you do to be able to survive whatever ordeal that was. Remembering those items and bringing them back into play for your new difficult situation or for your new motivation.
The other thing I would say you mentioned earlier is reading, because if you want to get better,
You gotta read.
you got to do two things. Either you meet somebody new, right? Or you read something.
Wow, I love that. And one was finding something to motivate you outside of yourself. For you, it was your parents. For me, it was my parents.
Yeah. What is your why?
What is your reason? And I think a lot of immigrants really push through because someone else that has really sacrificed themselves for them. So if you don't have that person, find another reason, but know what your why is because it will really help carry that through.
The other thing I would say for all my US friends and your followers is go to a third world country, maybe volunteer. Go to Mexico and see how the world is. Once you go there, you realize, wow, we are so blessed. And I think once you have that understanding, that perspective,
Love that.
it allows you to just say, okay, how am I going to live my life a little differently?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you should be every single time guest on my Therapy Tuesday.
You should fit me. You have a lot of great shows, and I'll be happy to come back anytime.
Thank you.